She was always the good daughter until I saw what she did at midnight. I came back to Northwood in the last chill of winter. Mom passed away from a sudden stroke. Just 6 months earlier, Dad had died from lung cancer. 2 deaths, too close, too fast. I didn't have time to process it all. I filed for emergency leave, booked the earliest flight, and returned to the small town I once called home. The one who opened the door was Mia, my younger sister. Still the same petite frame, hair tied back, that delicate smile everyone in the neighborhood remembered. She hugged me tightly, as if to say, "It's just us now." "You holding up okay?" I asked, voice tight. "Trying," Mia said softly, then stepped inside ahead of me. The house hadn't changed much since I last visited. On the center table sat a ceramic urn, Mom's ashes, next to a framed photo of her in her gardening hat. I sank into the old couch, my chest strangely hollow. Mia poured me a cup of ginger tea, then sat across from me in silence. She didn't cry, but her eyes were swollen. After both parents passed, you'd expect a crowd of relatives, but we had lost touch with most of them. Mia had handled everything on her own, from the hospital and cremation arrangements to dealing with the will and power of attorney. I opened my laptop that evening and looked through the legal files she had organized. Everything was precise, clear, impressively efficient. I'd never seen anyone manage grief and logistics like that. "Why didn't you call me sooner?" I asked. Mia shook her head, her voice barely above a whisper. "You had work. Mom didn't want to bother you." I nodded, but something in my chest pulled tight. In the first few days I stayed, Mia acted completely normal. She woke early, cooked, did the laundry, tidied up Mom's room with quiet care. Each night, she lit a candle beside our parents' photo, read a few soft verses from the Bible, then went to bed. If you had asked me then, "What kind of daughter is Mia?" I would have said without hesitation, the best kind, truly. But little things began to shift. On the third night, I got up for water and noticed the back door was open. Just a crack. I stepped out onto the porch thinking she might have forgotten to close it, but there were fresh, muddy footprints on the step, still wet. I went back inside. Mia's room, empty. 40 minutes later, she returned, quiet as a breeze. "Where'd you go?" I asked, keeping my tone casual. "Walmart. Needed some dryer sheets and almond milk." "At this hour?" "Yeah, I couldn't sleep. Figured I'd walk around a bit." She washed her hands, hung up her coat, and disappeared into her room. The next day, I tried to open Mom's old bedroom. Locked. "Why's the door locked?" I asked. "I wanted to grab a few keepsakes." Mia paused, just for a moment, then smiled. "I haven't finished sorting it yet. I'll open it for you later." Her answer made sense, but the look in her eyes didn't. Not avoidance, not guilt, just sadness. A kind of sadness wrapped in fear. That night, I quietly set up a door camera app and linked it to both the front and back entrances. Not because I suspected anything, but because I needed to know what was really happening during the hours Mia left the house. And if she went out again, this time I would follow her. Thursday night, 12:11 a.m. The back door creaked open. Again, I didn't turn on the lights, just grabbed my jacket and followed, staying about a house's distance behind. Mia walked slowly, not rushed, not sneaky, hands in her coat pockets, her steps calm, like someone simply stretching their legs after a long day. I stayed in the shadows, just far enough to avoid street lamps. Northwood at night was dead silent. Her boots made soft taps against the concrete. Leaves scraped the sidewalk in the wind. She passed the old gas station, then turned down a side road toward the outskirts. A path I remembered from when we were kids. Mom used to forbid us from going there. There used to be some abandoned storage sheds at the end of that trail. Now probably nothing but weeds and broken bottles. I pressed myself against a maple tree when she stopped. There was a man waiting, around 40, tall, thin, wearing a beanie pulled down low over his face. They didn't hug, didn't shake hands, didn't seem friendly or romantic, just stood across from each other and spoke quietly, quickly. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but Mia pointed behind the storage building like she was giving directions or explaining something. The man nodded, then walked away first. Mia stood there a little longer, then took a different path home. I waited until she was out of sight, then stepped closer to where they'd been standing. Nothing, just flattened grass, a few boot prints in the damp soil, but also a shallow impression in the dirt, as if something small and box-shaped had been placed there, then taken. The next morning I asked, "Where'd you go last night?" Mia looked up from her coffee, eyes bright, unbothered. "Went for a walk. I couldn't sleep. Been having weird dreams lately." "Do you walk like that often?" "Once or twice. Why?" I shrugged, said it was nothing. But in my head, normal people with insomnia don't wander 2 miles out of town in the middle of the night, and they definitely don't meet strangers behind abandoned buildings. That afternoon, I called Mr. John, one of Dad's old friends who still lived near the storage sheds. His voice was gruff and tired, same as always. "That part of town? Couple strangers been poking around the last few months. Figured they were scrap pickers or something. Anyone ever see Mia out there?" A pause. "What? Mia? Nah, that girl's a sweetheart. She wouldn't be doing anything strange." I thanked him and hung up. Part of me wanted to believe him. Mia was a sweetheart, wasn't she? That night, I checked the door camera app again. Footage showed 11:56 p.m. Back door opened, 12:07. Mia stepped out, but this time she didn't carry a tote bag, just something small, square-shaped, in her hands. I paused the video, zoomed in. It was a wooden box, not large, maybe the size of a jewelry case or keepsake chest. She held it with both hands, carefully. And what chilled me was that I had seen that box before. It was Mom's box, the one she called her memory box. She only opened it on special occasions, birthdays, anniversaries, quiet evenings when she wanted to remember, and since she passed, I hadn't seen that box at all. So why? Was it now in Mia's hands? I didn't confront her the next day, just watched, and quietly made a decision. The next time she left the house, I wouldn't just follow her, I would go all the way. And this time, I'd open that box myself. I used to tell myself, Mia is my sister. She has to be. But the wooden box she carried into the night, the strange man she met behind an abandoned building, and the way her eyes dimmed whenever I mentioned Mom, it wasn't grief, not the kind I recognized. It was something else, something closer to fear. I quietly picked a strand of Mia's hair from the brush on the bathroom sink, slipped it into a sealed plastic bag, took it to the local pharmacy, the one that offered DNA testing services through a mail-in lab. No one knew, just me. My own sample had already been stored in the system from a medical screening last year. The results arrived 3 days later. I opened the email on a rainy morning. My heart beat hard against my ribs, even though I thought I was prepared for the worst. No genetic relation, no shared father, no shared mother, no biological connection of any kind. Mia wasn't my sister, not even remotely. She wasn't family. She wasn't anything. I let go of the mouse. The screen still displayed the verdict in sterile clinical font. Result: no biological relation found. I didn't know what to feel: anger, grief, or shame for not realizing it sooner. I started digging through our old family photos. Most were printed from film rolls, the kind Mom kept in plastic albums, now yellowed and worn. Mia as a child, round cheeks, slightly curly hair, big eyes. Mia today, sharper jawline, taller nose bridge, a different energy altogether. Yes, people change as they grow, but something about it didn't align, didn't feel continuous. I flipped to the last album, leather-bound, dusty. At the very back, taped onto the page, was a scrap of paper with Mom's handwriting, wobbly, heavy, as if written while crying. I was wrong. She's not my daughter. I know that now, but it's too late. I sat down on the floor. Each word pressed into my chest like a weight I couldn't lift. That night, after Mia left the house, I slipped into Mom's old bedroom. The rusty lock opened easily with the spare key. I wasn't searching for anything specific. I just needed something, some reason, any reason. In the nightstand drawer, I found a small black USB stick, no label. I plugged it into my laptop. Only one file, a video dated 4 months ago. It was from the camera Mom used to keep in her room, a tiny device she installed because she was afraid of falling when no one was around. In the video, Mia entered the room quietly, sometime after midnight. She looked directly into the lens for a few seconds, then walked over and unplugged the power. The screen went black. No shouting, no struggle, no sound at all, just a girl walking into her mother's room and turning off the only witness that could have told us what happened next. I pulled the USB out, placed it back exactly where I'd found it. I no longer wondered if I was overthinking things because now I knew. I was already too late. I couldn't wait any longer. That evening, I called her to the back porch. No small talk. "You're not Mia." She froze, hands mid-fold with a towel. No panic, no denial, just silence. "Since when?" she asked quietly. "Long enough," I said. "Mom knew too, didn't she?" Mia sat down on the wooden steps, hands folded. She didn't look up at first, then softly, she spoke. "My name is Lainey. I was 6, living in a children's shelter in Boston. No ID, no family. I don't remember how I got there, just I was hungry, cold. Then your mom came in. She stared at me for a long time. Then she hugged me and whispered, 'There you are. You're alive.' I didn't understand, but I didn't pull away either. It was the first time someone hugged me and didn't hit me after." She continued, "She called me Mia. I didn't correct her. Weeks later, she adopted me, gave me a home, a name, a family." I asked, "Did Dad know?" "He did," she said, "but he never said a word. I think he stayed quiet because she was smiling again." "What happened to the real Mia?" "She died," Lainey whispered. "An accident. She fell on the stone steps while playing, hit her head, didn't survive. Your mom couldn't handle it. She ran away from the hospital. Then she found me. I looked just like her daughter." "So you just lived as her?" At first I was scared, but then it felt real. I went to school, had birthdays, got tucked in. How could I ever say no? I asked, "When did Mom start suspecting?" Mia lowered her gaze. "A couple of years ago." She'd ask little things. "Why don't you remember that song?" Or, "Didn't you hate broccoli?" Then she stopped hugging me, started pulling away. She told me she'd tell you the truth, said you deserved to know. I panicked. I didn't kill her, she said, but I did change her medication, lowered the dosage so she'd be tired, sleep more. I unplugged the camera in her room, delayed her doctor visits, told people she was doing fine. I didn't want to hurt her. I just didn't want to lose everything. And slowly, she faded. I didn't speak. The girl in front of me had been my sister for 20 years, and yet she was someone I never really knew. I never thought this day would come. The day I sat across from someone who had been my sister for nearly 20 years, and realized I didn't know her at all. She was the one who cooked for me during that long summer before senior year, the one who sat for hours with Dad, learning how to write cursive letters, the one who once texted me when Dad was in the hospital, "Don't worry, I'm here." She was Mia, or at least I believe she was, but the truth was, she wasn't. She had never been my sister, not by blood, not by name, only by memories, and a lie that lasted 2 decades. Mia looked at me, no excuses, no begging. "You can turn me in," she said. "I won't stop you, I understand. But before you decide, just let me ask one thing." She lifted her eyes. There was no plea in them, only quiet hope. "All these years, did you ever think I was a bad daughter?" I didn't answer, not because I didn't know what to say, but because I couldn't say anything at all. I left the house the next morning. No hug, no goodbye, just my bag and Dad's old jacket. And for the first time in my life, I didn't know if I had just lost a sister or finally realized I never had one. 3 days later, I was having coffee at a small roadside diner when Mr. James, a friend of Dad's, called me. "You heard yet?" he asked. "Mia came to the police station this morning, alone, no one with her. She said she wanted to confess everything. No pressure, no lawyer." Her face looked calm, but her eyes red, like she'd been crying all night. I didn't reply, just stared out the rain-flecked window. The sky was gray, and the rain fell gently. Final message: some people will do anything to be loved, but they choose the wrong way. And the more they try to hold on, the more they end up losing, even themselves. Because love can't be faked, can't be stolen. It only exists when it's given.